What's up, y'all? Toya here, and I am back with another video for y'all. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys either like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right, y'all. So today we gotta go ahead and call out Amazon Flex really quick, okay? Because they've been kind of acting up a little bit. On my last Amazon Flex delivery video, I had mentioned this, and I decided I should just go ahead and do a video dedicated to this topic because, yeah, they kind of moving a little funny right now. When I first started Flex, this was back in the fall of 2022, and it was great. It was great at the time. Didn't really have too many complaints in the beginning. I was picking up a lot of blocks, so it wasn't uncommon where I would do a block in the morning, do my W2, and go back and do another block right after. So I was running them blocks up like crazy, and I was enjoying it. I honestly was enjoying it. It wasn't uncommon when I was able to go ahead and get done with blocks like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour early. So it was great. That was at least until I got my first downtown route in Chicago. That was a mess. That was the first time it actually took me the whole block to finish because parking, you couldn't find parking, and some of the instructions, you either had to go to a locker or you had to go directly to the customer's door or leave at the front desk. Stuff was just not consistent. So yeah, it was a hassle. And between that and then I started getting the routes that would take you like 40, 50 miles out from the warehouse, it was starting to become more and more difficult to justify doing these blocks for just base pay. And for most folks, base pay was usually around like $17, $18 an hour. So driving that many miles with that little pay, it wasn't all of that. It really wasn't worth it. But even then, I still stuck with it. They had the incentives where you had to complete a certain number of blocks for the week and you would get an extra $100. And if you guys have been around since those times, I had 2 Amazon-a-thons on the channel, and I was taking base pay there because in the end, I felt that it was going to be worth it with the extra $100 on top of those blocks. I was getting away with making about 30, 40 an hour in total with everything, with the incentive, and I was getting done early with a lot of these blocks. So I was making pretty good money at that time. So after all of that, like I said, I still was doing Flex, but if there was no incentive, I usually stuck with doing the surge pay blocks. And that's just because usually base pay was not going to be worth it if you got a less than ideal route. Eventually I started to slow down because I started discovering more apps where I can make more money in less time and have less driving. So Flex wasn't really my primary app anymore, but I would still do blocks here and there. And then the infamous policy violation happened. So I did do a video about this whole ordeal last year. If you guys want to take the time to watch that video, it is an older video, but I'm gonna spare the details. I'll just go ahead and give you a brief overview of what happened. But if you want everything in detail, you can watch that video. So long story short, I got a policy violation for property damage. And the reason this happened was because there was construction on the road I was delivering to, and with the construction vehicles going up and down the street, I wanted to be out of the way. They're paving the road, right? So pulled up into the driveway, and the customer complained that I damaged property by leaving tire marks on their driveway. So yeah, like I said, if you want all the details, you can watch that video. But that was the policy violation, right? So after going through that whole situation, I was told that, okay, you know, there won't be any ding on the account. You know, you'll still be able to do blocks like how you normally do. So no penalty to me. At least that's how they were explaining it to me, right? But after this situation, I noticed that I wasn't seeing many blocks in my area anymore. And this was around the time of Prime Day, Black Friday, Christmas time coming up, and you would expect there to be like a lot of blocks because everybody's trying to order for the holiday season, right? But no, it was very, very slow. And my husband even said the same thing. He usually picked up those blocks that were the 4 a.m. blocks, and even he wasn't seeing anything. So me thinking that it had something to do with that violation, you know, that's what I initially thought. But even seeing my husband having issues getting blocks, you know, I really wasn't sure what was going on. So I just stopped checking for Flex. I'm not gonna lie, I just kind of stopped checking for Flex. But one day I really needed some content, and I was looking through all my apps trying to see where I can get a delivery done, and I decided to open up Flex, and there was a Amazon Fresh delivery block for groceries. So I took that. And ever since then, I started picking up a few blocks here and there, usually just doing the 3 hour, maybe 3.5 hour max. I didn't really want to do anything too crazy. And during this time frame, you know, I really noticed, at least when it came to the package delivery, it seemed like something had changed since the last time I did package delivery on Flex. It seemed like there were a lot more packages than I had before in my previous experience. I realized that I wasn't getting done as early as I used to be. And while yes, the pay went up, it went up, what, 50 cents an hour? That really didn't justify you having to deliver more packages than before. And personally, I feel like this is a really bad idea because this does not leave much room for error. You know, if you run into a situation, maybe you get stuck by a train, or there's an accident, or there's just rush hour traffic, you know, you have to pretty much be perfect if you want to get done early. And when I say early, I'm not talking about 30 minutes, an hour early, nothing like that. It seems that that's going to be very, very difficult to do because they're trying to squeeze out as much productivity as they can in those blocks. And that's no benefit to you because Flex, honestly, I feel like they already do a pretty bad job of setting up some of these deliveries. I had like 2 instances where I had to return a package because they had me deliver to a business on a Sunday and it was closed. Why would that even be on the route? There was one instance where my husband had to go downtown and this was game day. The Bears were playing and they blocked off a lot of streets around the stadium. And I think he said he had to return like 6 or 7 packages, maybe more, because he couldn't get access to that part of the city because, well, there's a game. So it's like, they already don't make good decisions when it comes to making these routes and assigning these packages to these routes. So imagine you have that plus too many packages that you have to deliver. Now you're running into a situation where you have a higher chance of needing to return packages. And if I remember correctly, if you return too many packages, that does affect your rating. So it's honestly a lose-lose situation for you. You're getting your extra 50 cents an hour, but you're probably delivering 50% more packages than you were a few months ago. That doesn't really seem like a fair trade to me. And on top of that, since I have started back on Flex, I've noticed there have not been any incentives sent out. So there really isn't anything that's keeping me from continuously coming back because I'm not really feeling like I'm making as much money as I was before. You know how I always ask you guys if you think the route or that order was worth it? You know, I asked that on my, I think it was the very last Flex video that I did. And it was a 3-hour block for, I think it was $72, and I had to deliver like 35 or so packages, right? And there were a lot of people that said they didn't think it was worth it. And I'm not sure if those individuals were familiar with Flex because $72 is surge pay. For a 3-hour block, that is considered surge pay. If y'all knew that $58 was the base pay for a 3-hour block, I don't even want to know what you guys' reaction would be. For $72, a 3-hour block, that was actually pretty decent if you were able to get done early. But that one, I didn't get done early. I think I got done like maybe 5 minutes early, 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, it's something. So moving forward, I'm only going to be doing surge pay. Well, I'm already doing just surge pay, but I'm gonna turn it up a notch. I'm probably not going to take anything that's going to be less than 30 an hour, or at least around that. Maybe 27, 28 might be my minimum that I do. Either that, or I'm going to stick to the grocery delivery if I have an opportunity to do that more. Because with grocery delivery, they actually pay you pretty well for that, and you're eligible for tips. So yeah, usually you're making some pretty good money on those blocks. It's already hard enough to justify doing Flex in the first place because the routes, you can pretty much go anywhere. Like I mentioned before, I've gone all the way downtown Chicago. I've gone 40, 50 miles out into Indiana. I've gone out further south in Illinois into the farmlands area. I've been all over the place. So yeah, it's very, very, very hard to justify continuing doing Flex if you have that on top of more packages that you have to deliver. Y'all ain't slick. Don't play with me like that. I literally just spent a bunch of money on this car last week. New tires, maintenance, all of that stuff. I had to go ahead and do that. So after spending that money, I'm looking at Flex. I'm like, I just put how many miles on this car from this route and you paid me how much? All this money I just spent on my car, that's probably all the money that I made on Flex this year so far, if not more. I am not gonna be out here delivering for free. I am not delivering for free. Y'all ain't gonna be playing with me like that. This is exactly why I am the way that I am when it comes to being picky with these apps and these orders and all of that, because y'all ain't gonna be playing with me like that. Flex is definitely still an option. I'm still gonna keep it in the arsenal, but I'm only gonna go ahead and take the orders that I feel are worth it for myself. This is kind of why I was saying Jitsu over Flex a little bit in some cases, not all, but again, not every app is perfect. I would much rather have that control and knowing where I'm gonna be going versus selecting the pay, selecting the time block, and I can literally go anywhere within an hour away from the warehouse. That's just too broad of a radius for my liking. But like I said, I'm still gonna keep Flex in the rotation. If something pops up that I feel that is worth it, I'll go ahead and take it. But no, I'm not gonna be entertaining them with no base pay, especially if you got people doing more work. But I would love to know you guys' thoughts as far as what do you think about Amazon Flex? Have you noticed any changes with Flex recently? Do you feel like the pay is not worth it anymore? Do you feel like you're doing more work? And the main question, do you still think that Amazon Flex is still a good, profitable gig app? Let me know in the comments. Now, before I go, I have to remind you guys to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a video. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. And as always, stay safe out there and keep grinding.